Welcome to Living Chassidus. Together, let's live the Chassidus we learn.
Morning, everybody, and welcome to Chassidus Morning. 15 minutes to hopefully change your life. Kuntres Heichaltzu. Tracking away over here. So we were discussing, and this is a good vart. We're discussing how when we look at the other person, we shouldn't be judging as much. And there's a general thing that we're learning here, and something that I've been internalizing or trying to internalize, the appreciation that we should have, that one of the keys to success in life is being able to talk things out with someone and having someone to talk to. And really, if we stay with our own heads, it's a lot harder. Whereas when we speak it out with someone, of course, it doesn't mean you just find any random person, but like a friend, and you say, hey, I want to live my life a little more properly, It's not working out the way I want it to be. My job is not what I want it to be. Our relationships, my, shidduchim process is not working out. And talk to someone and have sort of a partner. Of course, a mashpia is very good, and this is also, but it doesn't have to be exclusively a mashpia. It's also it's a mashpia, but it's also other people, like a friend that you can talk to, that you can, be honest, and automatically it will make your life so much better. A lot of things are in our heads, like we said before, that we can justify it and we excuse it because we don't talk it out to someone. When you speak to someone about it, either you'll be too scared to speak about it, which will make you realize that it's something you need to work on, or you will speak it out and they'll help you. Yeah, and that's how it's meant to be. It's a very a cool takeaway. But together with that, he's saying when it's coming from Yeshua, so that won't work. And also in general, it's a problem. I know what happens, and you look at someone and you focus on the negative parts of them. And so that's what we were talking about yesterday. And he says it's beautiful right. And we'll top of page 84. So we have to appreciate that our whole work and our lives were born like a young donkey, we said last time. And we need to learn how to tame ourselves and how to work on ourselves. And this is sort of a lifelong mission. So don't be over judgmental of a person. This is how we're born. The whole purpose is to l'sakein mideisav, to work on our character traits and to make sure we're behaving properly and work on the issues that we have. So when we have an issue, there's something I'm not good at, I'm not doing well, or it's not a good character. I have a character flaw. That's not negative on you. That's the reality of the game. That's how it is. It's the key is just to recognize it and try to work on it. And this is what we're talking about. It takes 70 years to work on it. Because the days of our life is 70 years. So that's one way to read it. But Bahem, because it says the day in them is 70 years. The days of the life in them is 70 years. But you can change Bahem, Oisis Behema, which is the same letters as Behema. Behema. Meaning, which is talking about the animalistic Nefesh Bahamas's character traits and the character flaws. What does that mean? That's why why we're given 7 years to work on the 7 middays. The Var Hazayin middays are the 7 evil middays. We can't fix them all in one shot. Just slowly, a little bit, I'll get rid of it. Which means even if we spent 70 years of working on ourselves, only then, maybe after that, you'd be at a point that you actually, you've really finished working on yourself. But if we just started much later and we haven't been working on ourselves for so long, so what do you expect? It takes time, and it's not over in one day. It's a life. This is a life mission. And therefore, so when you see someone else with some character flaws, and also for yourself, you don't be so judgmental. Just recognize that there's what to work on. Not to refine yourself and to work on yourself and change these character flaws. It takes a lot of effort. But only through a long time with a lot of avodah and davening properly, like we talked about in Kuntres Tefillah, Kuntres tefillah, by the way, is an outcome. One of the reasons why it was written is because of this maimon. It affected the Chassidim in such a way. And imagine think about it for a second, imagine being a Chassid, Tanzer Rashab, and he gives this out for you. What an impact would it have when you're learning it? Like this is, powerful. And so they took upon themselves, they wanted to realize that, no, it's working, so they have to daven. So what does it mean to daven? So they learned Kuntres tefillah, which we were fortunate to learn. Yeah, but through a lot of avodah, working on yourself and davening with meditating on godliness, and then having constant meditations with godliness, belakus with gabrus, and also having the nefesh l'kis over kanash v'hamis, nefesh l'kis making more of the decisions. Machalish mavar mezachich. So therefore, you weaken, you refine, and you purify. As amida is tivim, your natural character traits, the nefesh v'hamis, and becomes more godly. So that's what it takes. Think about that. That's what it takes to be able to work on yourself. And after 7 years of doing this type of work, you would have reached very far. So therefore, and for sure, when you do this, you for sure will be successful in this. But for that to happen, sometimes you need help. Like we talked about before, speaking to someone else helps. Sometimes the person, meaning, and this is the person we're judging. So that person, when you recognize that they're putting in a lot of effort, and it's not so easy and it takes a long time, and you have to daven, you have to do avodah, and again, nefesh l'kis, making more decisions, and even after that, you might even need someone else to help you. Because of the self-love, but you don't even recognize the problems, and this is a problem because you're not going to work on yourself. Like the saying is, what is it? Knowing the issue is half, knowing the sickness is half the cure. So too, if you don't know the sickness, you don't know the issues you're going to be working on, so how are you going to work on them? Before, you need a friend to come and recognize it for you and help you recognize it and help you figure it out and work on it. So and if he loves his friend in truth, you have to privately speak to the person. Meaning, if you really care about a person, this is I think a very hard thing to do, but it's a very important thing. If you really care about your friend, you have to recognize, when you recognize the issues, you have to put in the effort to try to speak to them. And I know this is like a scary thing to think about, but if you see something and your friend is living a much better life, if you don't feel comfortable enough to speak to them, so you have to question, why is my relationship not enough? And if it is good enough, so I have to go speak to them. And it's not, and you're coming from a loving place, and I'm sure, if it's Yetzer, Yetzer min halev nichnas halev, it comes from the heart, then I'll receive it. And if you see a person who could be living a life infinitely better, then it's up to us to do something about this and help them. Not in a way from our ego, but from a bittul. Yeah, she's talking me. And give you ways how to fix it. And when you don't do this, but what happens if we do the opposite and you put them down? You don't work on them and help them to fix it, but you so to speak make fun of them, or you put down, look at this person, they're not even doing anything. Look at this. You're having a hard time with whatever it is, these mitzvahs. Look at this. And even worse, if you do that in front of other people, you put them down, which is totally opposite of what we said to do. This just shows how much you hate them. You don't like them at all. You don't care for to help them at all, which is exactly the opposite. And he's showing us this both extremes. If you like them, you'll come privately. You'll mavatal yourself a little bit. And as much as uncomfortable, and you could say, listen, this is uncomfortable for me, but like, I care for you. And I want you to have a better life. And I think, and you come from a sincere, honest place, it will be amazing. And the connection you'll have, the relationship you'll build is infinitely great. Whereas on the other hand, if you don't do that, and you put them down because of the issue that you're seeing, you're not trying to help them, it's the worst. It's like the total opposite of this. Moreover, such a person's negative orientation is not focused only on the individual, but affects his general approach. Sheyeh avodas havaye. They should serve Hashem. Which is what everyone should want to be doing to serve Hashem. They should serve Hashem in this world. This is what Hashem wants. Hashem wants us to work in this world. And when you do this, you're ruining their whole existence because they're not doing what they could be doing. And it's like a person running a shop and selling bad pizza. And you know that what the pizza is missing is more cheese. Just put more cheese on it, it'll be better. It's up to you. It's your achrayus to come and tell them, not in an ego way, but in a bitzel way because you care about them. And you say, listen, I really care about you. And I just want to say that, like, you still have a lot of potential. I think if you just added more cheese, you have to, and if you come in the right way, not from an ego way, but from a real caring way, they'll receive it and they could make them a much more successful business. And this comes with any issue that we have. If a person recognize something wrong and try to speak to them, put in the effort and you'll help them. And the problem is, what we're saying is, you're not doing these things, you're not seeking the welfare of the person, but you're just putting them down. And the reason why you're doing this is because of the lack in your own avodah. Because your avodah is not true. You're not really working yourself properly. The proof is the way you're treating someone else. The way you're treating someone else can show the way you treat yourself. We're not saying you don't daven and learn and try. You could be. But when we call makom, it's not a true service from the level of bittul and putting yourself aside. You're not working yourself as you should be. But instead, and a self and feeling of self. It's all about you. And even though you could be davening, you could be learning, you could be doing all these good things, but the problem is it's coming from the wrong place. It's coming from a yeshitic place. And the proof of it is the way you treat someone else. So if you start treating someone else nicer, that will also affect on you, how you're treating yourself and how your avodah is working. Very, very powerful, very, very practical. Kitzum, haperud binyane avodah, the separation in regards to avodah, from unjustified reasons, that because of that separation in avodah, and sibasa sinas sinah v'hed avodah mitzvahs, and the reason why this happens is because of the lack of our own avodah and our hatred to the other person. And so what we and a good takeaway from this is is to recognize how is our relationships with people, and are we seeking help from people? Do we think we're living our life to the ultimate? And if not, what's lacking and what can be done? And maybe speaking about someone and having a discussion and say, you know what, I think my life could be a lot better. What's my plan? What's my 5-year plan? It's the whole thing I'm thinking about now. What's the 5-year plan? What do you want to see for yourself in 5 years? And what do I need to do to get there? And work and have a friend, to be honest. You say, this is what I'm thinking. Do I sound crazy or does this make sense? And is there something that you work on? It's like my father told me years ago when he was a lot more frum than I was. He said to me, he goes, if you see something that I'm doing that is wrong, like without halacha, he goes, don't worry about where you're holding. I want to know. I want to live my life. I want to live the life the way I'm meant to. If you can help me, then tell me. It's a level of big level of bittul. But the point is the recognition that someone can help. And if we want to live their lives to the fullest, which we should, so that's what we need. We need help from others. And also we see, and together with that, when we see someone else that needs help, we have to figure out within ourselves how we can help them, and of course, coming in a very nice, very peaceful way, but you can come and help them. You say, I want to help you. Beautiful. To be continued tomorrow.